Hello everyone. Okay, so still February 23rd, 2019 here in New York City, because one of my subscribers has asked me to do an analysis using Pendragon 321 on Tesla stock, and another one have asked me to do on crude oil. So in this video, we'll be covering these two instruments. So first up, we're going to look at Tesla, symbol TSLA. So again, same thing, always three different time frames. Daily, weekly, and monthly. Monthly on the right, weekly in the middle, and daily on the left. So Pendragon 321, always three lines, two sets of trading signals, and one indicator. So Tesla is actually a very interesting stock. If we look at it right here, let's always start with monthly. A few months ago, I would say summer, looks like around summer of last year, there was a long signal, confirmed long signal. Everybody see that? I'm going to label that A. Okay, so Tesla stock went up a little bit, for actually not a little bit, for a couple months. Okay, so we could have made some nice money over there. That's probably from 313-ish up to a 374-ish. So that's a good, I would say, $60 on a $300 stock. That's almost a 20% rise in 2 months. And also you notice how that this pink one, the medium lines, kind of act as a support. It can really drop below that. And okay, you know what? Let me blow this up bigger. Okay, now we're looking at a monthly chart Tesla. Okay, let's look at last month data. I'm gonna label it B. Okay, maybe let me put an arrow here. Then it's more precise. Everybody see it? All right. Now, look at how last month, this is a monthly chart now, Tesla stock touched the pink one and probably bounced back and ended up between the two lines, the green and the pink one. And let's look at what the value is. So last month, the power line 2, that's the pink one's 284.87. And Tesla's low was 279.28. So I would say only missed it by less, a little bit, about $5, $5.60 ish, give or take. Okay. Now so far this month, it's going down. Okay, but it hasn't quite touched the line yet. So that's labeled a number. That could be a significant support for Tesla. Let me bring the charts back. Okay, excuse me, bear with me here. Here we go. All right. So what's the past 284.95? It's a possible support for Tesla on the monthly chart. Okay. All right. Let me 284.95. Let me color coordinate this. All right, here we go. So on the upside, it's 314.16. That's the green number. So if Tesla were to resume the upward trend again, it definitely have to break above 314.16 in a convincing way. Okay, once he does that, he might have some room to run. But in the past, it's kind of stalled at around almost at 400 level right here. So let's see what happens. See, let's see this time. First of all, it can go above 314.16 again. And once he broke above that, let's see what happened, how he reacts at 400. Now the middle chart is the weekly chart. And again, it's really interesting. Look at the lines, even more precise since the end of last year. Notice how the low barely touched the purple one and it goes back up. And on the upside, here, it touched the green one and come right back down. And the very next bar, the low touched the pink one. Okay? And went up. Okay? And then the next 2 weeks, it tried to come down. First bar couldn't quite touch the purple one. The next bar, it did penetrate below the purple one, and yet it closed somewhere around near the purple line. So let's see what that value was. So for the week ending January 25th, 2019, everybody see that right here where my cross hair is? The low was 279.28, and power 3, everybody see that? The purple one is 297.24. So it missed it by 0.04. That's where it closed. I mean, that's a low, okay? It missed the low by 0.04. Okay? And when it did close, it closed at 207.04. Okay? So the next few weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, the next following 4 weeks, including the end of last week, it pretty much hover between the confines of these 3 power lines. Okay, everybody see that? Until last Friday, we closed below a little bit. So right now, on the weekly chart at least, if Tesla drop below the current support, this pink, the purple line, then maybe it has a trend going down. Okay, but it's still, by and large, I would say it's still kind of hover in the trading range. Okay, that's why every time I mentioned other videos before already. Every time when the price range are in between the lines, that is a good, usually often more often than not, that's a good time for the market to be doing a trading range. Okay, like right over here. So let's go to daily chart, see what we have here. No, this is monthly, sorry. Let me go to daily. Okay, here we go. So daily chart is quite interesting. Let me again make it bigger. Right away you will notice sell signal because it's a pink dot. One here that failed, didn't do quite well. It touched the green line right here and couldn't break it. It bounced right back up. The next one, another signal right here. It didn't quite touch the upper bound. It did drop a little bit and it hovered and it bounced back up again. And the third one, this third signal right here, let me label it letter A. This one was pretty good. Okay, notice that how it couldn't really break above the pink line, even though the previous bar, closed above, but the right next bar it went below. And then what happened is that it tried to challenge the green line. It did a little bit and it bounced back up. On the bounce back up, look what happened. Could not go above the pink line and the purple line combo up there. As a result, it went down. The market been going down. So that's where we were the past week and a half, I guess. Okay, so again, the daily chart has been going down according to the thing. So what Tesla is doing right now, based on this, it's actually trying to go down, but it has to remember on the monthly chart, there's a significant possible support at 284.95-ish. So if you're shorted, that's the numbers you want to watch. Once you drop below that, then maybe it's more room to go down. But if you can go above significant number on the daily chart right here, let's say 315.89. That's what the pink number is. If you can go above those resistance, which is very close to the 314.15 that we have on the monthly chart. So that tells us those are significant resistance on the upside. Once we go above that, then maybe the next one we can challenge the previous resistance over here, almost near 400, 375-ish or what have you right there. Okay, so that's the those are the 3-to-1 analytical system for Tesla. So these lines, they don't necessarily give you any trading signal. That's the two set, the trend GPS and the triangle 4. However, these are act almost like X-rays. They can help us to understand the market better because they spell out the possible pressure points denoted by these three lines. So give us a better idea where the possible support resistance are. Because you can see, oftentimes, the price trend, they will start from there and be attracted to those points, pause there, and then resume again. And depends on how they react near those lines, you can have possible important consequence. These are the lines I like to think about, just like, let's say you're a floor trader. Okay, if you guys ever seen floor traders trade, they don't have these laptop or big computer screen full of moving average indicators, what have you. Usually they jot down a few numbers. Those are the on the floor they call them pivot points. Okay, they jot down these important numbers to give them guidelines, because when the price reach there, depends on how they react, they can make their trading decisions. And these three lines give us this, I believe it's an improved version of those pressure points, those pivot points. Okay, except they're calculated by sets of computer formulas. Okay, so that concludes the Tesla. Now let's look at crude oil. So crude oil is very interesting. Okay, again, it doesn't matter what you analyze. The Pendragon 321 system is always three lines, two sets indicators, and one indicator. And always we're going to look at three time frames. Okay, the longer term, medium term, and the short term. So since we're looking at daily, the longest term is going to be monthly, the medium term is going to be weekly, and the short term is going to be daily. So this way, you guys can see how robust the system truly is, because it's consistent. Doesn't matter what kind of instrument you analyze. Okay, it's always going to be the three line. Before we look at Tesla, and the previous video we look at the index, which is SPY QQQ. Now we're going to look at crude oil, which is a commodity. And yet, analytical methods are the same, and the logics are the same. And later on you can see how interlocking they really are. Okay, so right away let's look at monthly chart. You should already see that there's blue cross signaling the beginning of an uptrend, but that's not a signal yet. For confirmed signal, we must see a blue dot right here. Okay, let me label that A. Now this is kind of interesting. Why am I saying that this is interesting? First of all, by the time that the blue cross appear, crude oil has been going down. And this is a monthly chart, so the move is quite large. Okay, we're not talking some small move. And crude oil proceeded to drop for the next 2 months. And yet, throughout it all, okay, let me just draw this here. So, when it first appeared, it's on, let me just label that, this guy right here. That's the month ending October. Okay, so the month ending October 2018, it gave us our first blue cross long signal, and the low of that there's around in that month is about 66.30 something ish. Okay, and crude oil proceeded to drop the next 2 months from 66 down, go down all the way till about 43. Okay, that just let's get more precise here. You know what? Let's get more precise. Okay, so as of October 31st, 2018, crude oil closed at 66.4, 66.40, and the next 2 months it went down to 46.04. I'm looking at the close price right here, 66.46. I mean 66.4, 46. That's a $20 drop. Okay, for an asset that was priced at $66. Let's see how much that is in percentage term. That's a 30% drop. So even though crude oil dropped 30% in the next 2 months, but our first long signal did not come until it dropped 30% on the monthly chart. You see the point A right there? So all this time, even though it's dropping, if you look at the monthly chart, the system is telling you it's not time to buy yet. They turn GPS anyway, telling you it's not a time to buy yet. Okay, so the first buy signal did not come until last month, January. And what's going on is that the crude oil has been going up. And next, you should train your eye to see. It went above. Right now, it's currently hovering in the middle of the green line right here, which is 56.17, 56.17. That's a green number right here. If it cannot go above that go above this price level convincingly, then we have a very good chance that the crude oil can resume its downward movement. Okay, everybody see that? Why is that? Because very simple. I mentioned before, there are no more lines beneath that. There's no more support line. But if it goes above that, the next price level most likely will present a significant resistance. It's 59.98. That's the pink line, right? That's the pink number right here. And if you go, that's all 59.98. That's called $60. So if you go above $60 per barrel, the next one could be 74.14. Okay, everybody see that? That's what we see from monthly, the longer time frame. A lot of time when people do analysis, they ignore the longer time frame, but they are actually very significant, because a lot of time after you do all these, you go through all this turmoil, you step back, you look at it. It's actually the longer time frame that's driving these price trend, especially for a commodity as strategic, as important as crude oil. It definitely pays to definitely consult the monthly chart, because in my previous video I mentioned about what, there are many different type of players. They operate in the markets. Okay, so what type of players that look at the monthly charts? Definitely your biggest institutional players. And in the stock market, we had these huge hedge funds, or even sovereign wealth funds. In crude oil, obviously you have a lot of national interest, or even international geopolitical interest riding on this single commodity, crude oil. It's often used as weapons by countries to sanction other countries or achieve their political goals. And if you imagine you are a huge country like OPEC, or even the US, even Russia, all these kind of things, I don't think you're too concerned about the weekly or even the daily price fluctuations of crude oil, unless they are too great or getting out of the hand. Because when you are making policy decisions and try to enforce your policies, monthly, it's about right. Okay, just like, so notably, a lot of things other than equities, other things such as foreign currency, spot currencies, okay, foreign exchange, these are a nation's currencies. These are also subject to very long-term influences. So it definitely pays to look at monthly chart. Okay, so now let's go to turn to the weekly chart. So weekly chart is interesting. For the past, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 weekly bars, about a month and a half. The crude oil price is spent trending in between the lines. Okay, as I mentioned in a previous video or earlier this section, when they're between the lines, there's a good chance that the price is being confined within these two lines, or forming a trading channel. And indeed, the price is really not fluctuating that much if you think about it for the last month. Okay, and that's because because in two lines, you have two very strong lines on top, the pink and the purple. Let's call them 59.11. Okay, that's your upper bound. That's pink. And on the bottom you have 53.81. So that's the green. Now, first of all, note that the 59.11 is very similar to 59.98 on the monthly chart. Okay, so when all three lines converge, that could be a possible strong resistance. Now on the downside, it's 53.81. It has to drop below that before the market can start its nicely downtrend. Okay, that's the signal we're getting from the from the weekly. And also, don't forget, we had these yellow alert, so possible short signal coming. Okay, on the weekly chart. So let's see if the crude oil price risen up to about 59 or 59.60-ish and turn around. That's a very strong possibility. That's what it's telling us from the weekly chart. Now, finally, on the daily chart, well, right away, you guys should know. You should see this blue dot. So that's a confirmed long signal, labeled 0.8. So on the daily chart, crude oil has been going up, and you know how for the 3 days, the past 3 trading days, it hit the purple line and it kind of stalled there a little bit. It stopped right there. Let me pull up this chart, make it bigger. So we're looking at the daily chart right now. You guys see how that it penetrated above the purple line a little bit, but then it bounced, the next day, the red candle right there, it dropped below and it touched the purple line, could not go above, and Friday went above a little bit, and so far it's still hovering right there. Okay, so we want to see how this thing react, because it might turn back. If it turns, it might turn down, or it's ready to resume for the next leg up. Okay, anything could happen at this point. So that's why it's so useful to have these lines, because they give us the possible pressure points. I call them pressure points in the markets, and depends on how they, how the markets act or react in those levels, we can know where the market is going to go next. So it's very clear now from the daily chart. If you're going to go up, you first obviously have to go above the 59.60 level, and go above that, you go to the monthly 74.14. Everybody see that? If it goes down, however, you have to take out these two other levels on the downside. Okay, let me label these numbers so it's easier for us to see what number we should watch out for. So first one is 54.85. This is on a daily scale now. So we kind of fine-tune a little bit because the number is smaller, 53.06. That's on the pink line. So everybody see that? It's quite interesting. Okay? It's quite interesting. If the market was to go down, basically if you drop below $53, this whole bunch of number 53.06, 53.81, 50.84. Okay, these are your three possible support level. If you drop below those, okay, then the market can resume its next leg down. And also, before we mentioned, there's a possible sell signal coming on the weekly chart. So if you got shorted on the weekly chart, those are the number you want to watch out for. Okay, see how the markets react, how the markets act over there. If you stop right there and bounce back up, then you know the monthly long signal have the upper hand, is resuming. But if not, it goes down, then it could go down. So this is very similar to what we saw before on the SPY and QQQ. So they are kind of related. So far, if you look at relative price movements, they are related. Isn't that interesting? We're looking at crude oil here. Both SPY and the crude oil have a monthly long signal, except crude oil flashed a month earlier. Because SPY, let's go back to the SPY chart. I have it here somewhere. See, it flashed right here on January. Okay, let me label that. That's January, whereas crude oil flashed a month ago. Sorry, this is too cluttered here. Let me just clean out a whole bunch of these guys. Oops, let me just clean out a whole bunch of these guys so it's easier to see. Let me remove all the drawings. Okay, bear with me 1 second here. Alright, let's see. Here we go. Right. So the crude oil, everybody see that? The crude oil flashed a long signal December 31st. Month, the bar chart, month ending December 31st, 2018. Whereas SPY flashed a month later. And if you look at the charts, the patterns are actually interesting too. Look at the weekly chart and look at the crude oil chart. Okay, except the crude oil chart has more resistance, whereas the stock not as much. So if you want to do inter-market analysis, this is another way you can look at it. Okay, so let's see. All right, so we went over Tesla and crude oil, and if you'd like me to analyze other instruments, please let me know in the comment section. And again, if you're not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. All right, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.